Welcome to our entitled Parents. Let's get into the first story. Titled Mom Can't Accept a 3-year-old child Isn't a Prodigy. Hey, last week I started a job as a teacher. Perfect ground for finding entitled parents. Here's some background to start off with. I taught English to children, and while the school accepts children between 18 months and 12 years, my students are between the ages of 2 and 5. The school I work at only teaches English and has different levels to a child's ability, where the teachers can use discretion to decide if the child needs to go faster or needs to slow down because of the virus. The schools are mostly one-on-one lessons because things are getting better where I am. School also allows physical classes instead of online only. But hey, if this kid lets call him D, it's a 3-year-old or what local Chinese father, and a mother who's traditionally Chinese. Where, where I live, English is the primary language of most people, though the comment of English is a bit skewed with plenty of slang. His father could speak in Mandarin to his wife, but EM, however, could not speak any English at all and was Mandarin only. Where This is where the problem number one is. When I have local Chinese, I only grew up with English-speaking parents and grandparents, which meaning I have no command of Mandarin, even though I'm shared as a second language 12 years. Once I'm out of school, my brain wrung out any knowledge of Mandarin like a water out of sponge. I can speak at barely conversation level, but can't explain anything in depth. The second lesson he came for was also my first day working there. I was briefed on EM as she been the one signing D up for lessons. I was informed that my co-workers D's father would be the one dropping off and picking him up. That was good news for me, because when we let the child go at the end of the lesson, we take a few minutes to go through with the parent / guardian on what the child is learning, what they did well, what they can improve on, along with any recommendations for them, like speeding up or slowing down. It's hard for me to explain any of that in Mandarin. So if Dee's father was the one to pick him up, then talking to him would be simple. Unfortunately for me, that was absolutely not the case. Dee's first lesson with me, EM was the one to drop him off. He was 3 years old, so we were doing a foundation class with him, where we were basically teaching him one letter per hour long classes. How to say it and write it, what the letter sounds, makes, in some simple words to start off with said letter. Given that his first time seeing me, he's almost entirely unresponsive to anything I say. Just tries to go out and find EM. Would want me to open up the door, and when I wouldn't because he just run off, tried shoving his fingers in the gap of the door. Wouldn't repeat after me or mimic my actions. Overall, did not learn much, but when did manage to get him to say 4 words instead of starting with the letter B. But when that was about all we could manage to do in that hour, from a Southern Eastern Asian period, we're out there. You know how parents can be. You don't know traditional Chinese people are even worse. EM's just horrid. When I let D out to pick 2 a.m., she was first called asking how she did in the classes and what he learned. I explained to her that because this was D's first lesson with me, he wasn't as responsive. Didn't manage to say the 4 B words taught to him. Now during class, have 4 flashcards with the words that are supposed to be learned, and we give those cards to the parent to keep in case they want to revise with the child on at home. I prefer to give the child to the kids to reinforce that it's their responsibility to keep the card safe. Plus, it develops their motor skills when they have to hold stuff. EM. What does the card say? EM. Jamming her finger into the card. What does it say? When he, when D responds, I get a death glare from EM. EM. Why doesn't he know? He he knows how to say it. What do I pay you for? Oh, OP. Yeah, since this is the first lesson here with me, I think he was shy and couldn't manage to get found material. I assessed that. EM. What do I pay you for? I sent him here so he can learn English. EM glares at D. Says bubbles again. D is entirely clamped up. D shakes his head. OP, look him. You need to understand that this is your first time seeing me, and he's 3 years old. He's able to copyright sit down in the class and point at the pictures associated with the word. Him. Then why can't he say it? Me, tell me what this class is. OP, possibly because we're no longer in a quiet environment, which is him and the teacher should warm up to me soon. Within the next classes or two, to the lessons. Sorry that if today was up to your standard, but standards is the first time with AM snorts at my comment, grabs D and stalks off. I share some words with my workers, mostly us link about AM and mentor that she was just like that during D's very first lesson in school with him. They accused my first time meeting AM, but we're not quite done yet. It's time for today's lesson. She's even more horrible. This time, she shows up 10 minutes late. Thankfully, D's father too releases D into my key. Today I tell him that I see, including the words car, cat, cow, and crab. He is a lot more decisive today that I figured out that he's more into physical actions and was able to say all four words. Smash the words and pitches. Class itself was fun and I released him to his parents was not. Since Dee's dad was around, I spoke to him almost exclusively. Explained to him Dee was doing well, way more obsessive to me in my lessons, but struggled with his penmanship since we can't get a good grip on a crayon as a very his movement was shaky and I he also explained the struggle to say cough. Sometimes he mixed up how it sounded with cow, but at least I was very understand. Come in he guides Dee how to properly hold a pencil at home, and Dee started relaying all this to Mandarin to him. Ian looked pissed off at me. Dee started mentioned to her my comments about Dee not being able to hold a crayon properly, but said nothing. The school gives the child the activity book to bring home. Dee's book today had a page where the card's wrong and you to cut out. My coworker has cut it out. The entire page so she could cut out the cards of the ease. The card was cut in by D. AM noticed a bit of the page was still in his book. Blue refused. AM, where is this page? How could you give it to him? Such a terrible book. Huh? Where is the page? Why did you give my son something terribly made? OP. The page was cut out because there's a paper cut. I flipped the book over the front page where Dee's messily colored car cutout was tucked between the cover and the first page. EM's rage subsided a little bit, but she gave me the nastiest death glare. EM, oh, so he couldn't even kill it properly. Ah, I wonder why I'm even paying you when you can't teach. Dee had a color picture. Let me say, teaching a child how to hold a pencil is not my job. It is the parents' duty, and if they only expect them to practice for an hour a day, Saturdays, that's their problem. Sounds nasty, but it's true. At this point, I'm exclusively talking to Dee's dad, and could barely look at EM. EM was also going back to jabbing her finger at the glass cut, demanding that Dee says the word, what the words are. EM, she caught the glass cut in Dee's face. Say it, say what the word is. Dee is visibly strained, clutching the toy car and staring at EM, but saying nothing. I decided to intervene. Oh, P, point at these toy gun his hand. Do you know what that is? Dee immediately flashes me a big grin. Car! I clapped for him and gave him a high five, offering EM a smile when he could make a scowl deeper. Pretty sure that her muzzle like line and crow's feet are permanent now. I also noticed that anytime EM talks, his dad looks at her with such kindness in his eyes, like he's regretting his marriage now. He finished explaining to Dee's dad on my recommendation to practice penmanship at home. He thanks me when EM grabs Dee's wrist and yanks him out, stalking off like she's some feminist. The school admin apologizes to me, even if convening EM to sign up, saying that saying he knew that she was going to be trouble during the sign-up process. I just said it's fine, packed up and leave. Now that 3 hours later, I'm sitting here playing this thinking, PM keeps his trash behavior. He's going to give up for a son that hates her. He believe I had to see AM every Saturday now. I hope she puts D out. You know, everyone daily, EM's just gonna keep making trouble every single week and find some reason to throw a crap storm. If that this got so long, next week, your teacher's a great place to find EMs like this. And I'm sure I'll find something new next week when I see her again. And that was r/ entire parents. Remember to subscribe, like, when I stream at Twitch as often as I can. Under King Bass 53. So follow me there. King Bass out.